Good morning. How y'all doing? What's going on? So thoughts and takes on that Clippers Jazz game. The Clippers came all the way back by 25. Tyronn Lue is showing you he can coach. I know, when you coach LeBron James and how impactful and how that was haunting over Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat, which happened to be my favorite basketball team. But Spo got the Heat to the finals last year, and he showed he could coach. It helps when you have an all-time great player. However, if you can coach, you'll figure it out. But Tyronn Lue had to make adjustments because Kawhi Leonard got hurt. And Paul George, who's had the reputation of pandemic P or the unknown P, he been postseason P. He been balling. But they got mad contributions last night. And they came back. And, I remember some months ago when Donovan Mitchell was interviewed by Shaquille O'Neal and Shaq said, "You're not that dude yet." And he had this look on his face, and Braun and some of the others were like, how are you going to say that to him? Well, and then Stephen A. Smith with all this clownery talking about Donovan Mitchell is the greatest Utah Jazz player and acting like Karl Malone didn't exist. I'm going to tell you something. Utah with Karl Malone and Stockton would have beaten the Clippers, especially without Kawhi Leonard. They would have done it. I'm not gonna sit here and pile on Donovan Mitchell because he's a great young talent and his potential and upside is big. However, the way they lost at home a couple of nights back and to blow this game last night, that's not leadership. And Karl Malone, they weren't blowing no big leads. Stockton, Malone, they were not blowing big leads under Jerry Sloan. Utah is a really good coach, but they got out coached. And Rudy Gobert, who's a really great defensive player, just don't give you enough on offense. He's a liability. And when you get pull him out for high screen pick and roll, you can go home on him. But they was getting 8 up on the perimeter. I know Mike Conley was hurt a lot. But Utah is missing that fine piece that could be a real contender. Yeah, they had no 1 seed record, but I wasn't sold on Utah. If Utah had to play Phoenix, I would have liked Phoenix in 5. I just wasn't believing in it. Some people say, well, no, I watch these teams. I watch what their strengths are. And Utah, I like Jordan Clarkson. They had a nice perimeter game, and of course, obviously, if Donovan Mitchell, when they lost that game 1 in the first round to Memphis, and Donovan came back, because that would have been, and to me, that was the blueprint. Ja Morant and the way Memphis was able to attack on the perimeter and bring them out, Memphis put points on them. So you got to figure that you get the next level up tier. Utah getting exposed. So I wasn't sold on Utah. I'm not one of those kind of people that think the West is tough, heavy at the top in a way, but there's nobody in the West that you scared of. Let's be realistic. LeBron's getting old. Unless the Lakers make something significant, they're not going to come back like that. And Golden State, we're waiting to see what happens with Klay Thompson and with Golden State. Golden State's the last true dynasty of the West. But I don't think you're going to see another dynasty in the West no time soon. I think you got these young, fresh, upstart teams that are going to get pieces, and it'll be interesting. But Utah needs somebody to come in and do it. But the Clippers, whatever happens against Phoenix should be a heck of a series because he's got 2 compelling stories. But I will say this, Tyronn Lue can coach. Paul George then stepped up. This is the LA Clippers' first time in a conference finals. Reggie Jackson been big. They have come up big, and they ought to be applauded for what they did. They had some mental lapses here and there, but when they came up, they didn't come up big. So, but it was impressive for what they did. Overcome 25. Oh yeah. And Tyronn Lue has definitely shut up his critics. He definitely showed. And we're going to see. Because he went 1 step further than Doc Rivers did. We'll see what Doc does against Atlanta. And I'll do that in another video when that series ends. But some of my thoughts and takes about the Clippers and the Jazz series and what I saw and what I didn't. And like I said, the Jazz need another piece. They're missing another piece to score. Because I think that's the easier buckets. And I think they play fundamentally. But this ain't Karl Malone, John Stockton, Jerry Sloan. This ain't not it. It's a duplicate in a way, but they're missing that one piece. But the Clippers are looking good. They play perimeter and they play smart. They're the toughest team in the West, I think. And I know I could see that Clippers Sun series going either way, but I think the Clippers are on to something. They're the most deep team, and this is where Tyronn Lue's pedigree of championship coaching will come into view. Please give me your thoughts and takes about that Clippers Jazz series, and I welcome thoughts and comments. Please hit the like, subscribe, and I welcome feedback. And I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another, and that was a very compelling game last night. 25-point overcome. Big time win for the Clippers. Much respect to Tyronn Lue. I'm out.